Hello and good evening to all out there. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies post-game show brought to you by Bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. I had some big success this weekend taking Bet365's money, and I would suggest you use the promo code PHLY365. Get $200 in bonus bets at sign up and find out why it's never ordinary. All right, Jamie Lynch, Tyler Zulli, Renee Washington, temperature check. How's everybody feeling? Does Charlie Sheen shut this down?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
This
Maybe
is
not.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
Never mind.
Oh, I just got the update on my app. 414-foot home run.
Yeah, but did you see it yet?
No, of course not.
Johan drops it over the wall. He makes the catch.
Oh, okay. I'm not there yet. I was going to say, I don't feel great. This is a very boring, slow.
This has been the most boring baseball game ever.
Ever.
Oh, Johan.
Wow, I still didn't see the play. That's so sad.
Oh, no. Oh, he had it in the glove in the webbing and it hit the ivy wall and it kind of dislodged. Looks like we're probably going to get some free baseball.
Oh, it's happening. Oh, how did that happen?
Be here a while, guys.
Wow, that hurts. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that's painful.
He had it. He made the catch.
Painful.
Oh.
But like he's so in the corner there that I feel like he lost. Oh, Ro.
What a way to start the post-game show.
I know. Everybody's reaction is the same. Like, how? Oh,
man. Well, welcome in, everyone. Not great. Well, this baseball game is officially sucked. Yes, Lisa, are you kidding me?
Replay again, and he actually caught it in the field, but then turns and then drops it out as he's coming down. If he could have somehow, I don't even know, turned the other way or just go straight down, he kind of turned over the fence and drops it. Oh, that's a dunce play.
Yeah, everybody's hearts just kind of sank there because he had it made. Ugh. Well, now our attention turns to can the Phillies pull this out in extra? Well, hopefully in the bottom of the ninth. Hopefully we don't have to go to extras to find out. We'll get into the nitty gritty throughout the game. Sorry, I recommended Renee. See if she had a smudge.
No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. This is not great.
Are you in the void? Yeah, are you in the upside down? Are you?
I feel like I'm in Twilight Zone right now because we've seen this type of stuff happen with the Phillies too often, and here we are.
Yeah, story of the night has to be Cristopher Sanchez. We'll get into his performance in between innings at this point, and hope we're not on through the 14th inning of the post-game show. And by the time it gets done, and that's the post-game show. Thanks for joining us. Man,
guys, I got to be up at 5 a.m. We're not going until the 14th inning.
What a bummer that is to go from.
As Lisa's mentioning in the chat, the offense has to score more runs. This is ridiculous. It shouldn't even come down to this. Like, I feel so bad for Ro, and I agree. This is a crazy play as I'm watching it again. But, like, you got to score runs. You can't continue to have game after game. And I got some stats that are, like, mind-boggling on how bad the offense has been. But you got to give some run support.
Well, yeah, if you're like me, Tyler, and you hopped on Bet365 earlier today to take Nick Castellanos to home run, well, we've got a chance. He's going to get another at-bat, I believe, here in the ninth inning. So we got life.
The unfortunate part about tonight's game is the story should be Cristopher Sanchez pitched well, gave you 6 shutout innings. Orion Kerkering looked dominant. Jeff Hoffman, got into a little bit of trouble, but, performed his typical Jeff Hoffman stuff. Pitching was great for 8 innings today. Unfortunate kind of fluky play. Listen, Estevez has been good. We kind of know, like we've talked about this plenty. We know the book on him. He's going to give up hard contact. It's going to give up contact at times that is, kind of gives you a little bit of heart palpitations. But this story of the game should be Sanchez pitched well, bullpen pitched well, you win the game. But instead, the story of the night is the fact that the offense was anemic, lifeless, listless, whatever kind of adjective you want to describe to determine the fact that they were no hit through 6+ innings or through 5+ innings. It took a Kyle Schwarber home run to get them on the board, both in the hit column and the run column. You stranded runners, multiple grounded into double plays with runners on first and second and one out, or with nobody out in the one instance. An issue of offense tonight. The offense just has not performed for a bulk of the night. And it's not even one of those games where you can sit here and go, well, they've hit a couple of balls hard and they hit them right at
people. They didn't hit any balls hard.
Their exit velos tonight.
Yeah, Schwarber's was 113 off the bat. Trey Turner's was, I think, 109 earlier in the game, and that was the only one. As of like an inning ago when I was looking at it, the only 2 hard-hit balls on the night for the Phillies. Yeah, I mean, it's 2 straight games in a row here, Renee, of 5 innings of no-hit baseball. They're just off. It shouldn't take to a third time to see a pitcher to get going here. This is – and Sunday was particularly bad because the Marlins are – I mean, those guys were working at Home Depot and collecting trash a week ago. They're just lucky to be in Major League Baseball.
I mean, what makes this worse is you're squandering games that you should be winning. And to have the pitching's been great. As you mentioned, Tyler, today should be positive, talking about how great Cristopher Sanchez looks, to talk about the bullpen, who's been good. I mean, even that play that Yoro just dropped, that should be a catch. That should be that's one minor mistake. But the mistakes get highlighted even more because of the fact the offense is not showing up. And I understand there's a lot of injuries. My goodness, the injuries that we are seeing. It's almost a whole lineup worth the players that are out right now that the Phillies have been counting on, as guys that can contribute, guys that are a part of their everyday starting lineup. So yes, you can point to that as an excuse, but this is no excuse. They have enough guys that are still out there that this team should be able to do better, especially as we talk about you're going up against the Marlins, for example, this weekend. Today, you're going up against Tampa Bay. This is inexcusable, and it's bad because you're not even getting hits. And then you finally get a home run, then Trey Turner singles, and then of course, it's another double play. It's been double plays. It's been no offense, nothing nothing that they're giving at bat. How do you expect to win games with how well your pitching's doing? You got to score runs.
So Tyler, you're an old school, like kind of, seam head, you and your dad. The old thing that people do, at least I do, when like a Saturday night or a Friday night is happening and it's 22 hits and 16
Don't do
wins.
it. No.
You go, hey, save some of these hits for tomorrow.
No, I actually was thinking this.
They got 22 hits and they broke the team. It's over.
This is such a volatile game. Yeah, pour on.
Should have saved some of those hits for Sunday.
The Northeast Philly dad cliches were probably running rampant this weekend between save some runs for tomorrow and gotta get points on this drive. What are the Eagles cliches? Big third.
Need to stop here. Yeah.
Yes.
Like
gotta get a stop.
The dad cliches were out and about this weekend.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, it's hard because you look at that game and now, as we're seeing what today and what yesterday looks like and Saturday, you're like, oh, they should have saved some runs. But in reality, you're looking at like, this should be one of those moments. It was the 2 back-to-back games where they scored 11 runs against Kansas City. It was you put up, a season high 16. It felt like this should be that turning point of the offense waking up and the offense getting going. And then here we are yet again. And that's what makes this group so frustrating. To be honest, I feel like that play by Johan Rojas kind of sums up how we've been feeling as of lately with the Phillies, of like, you almost got it. Oops, you don't. Like every time we feel like we're consistently taking strides with this group, something else goes wrong. And it's like,
well, something else just went wrong. Carlos Estevez took a line driver off the kneecap, staying in the game, but that looked painful. And JT obviously, fouls one off his knee, and he's out, and Garrett Stubbs is getting hit in the temple with bats. So it does seem like a bunch of stuff is going wrong here these past couple days.
The Phillies 40-man roster does not have an active, healthy player on it current, like that available players. No one's readily available. They are the walking wounded right now.
Yeah,
it's literally coming down to who can still walk out there. That's what I was saying. Tyler, can your kitten do anything? Can you hold the bat?
Sorry, I'm not available tomorrow for the show. I'm getting called up.
Yeah, I think
go up
who could help?
I'm gonna go up in like bench warmers where the guy tucks down behind the umpire with the sword. That's gonna be me.
It just has been one of those stretches of like anything that can go wrong is going wrong. And the injury, I just cannot wrap my head around the amount of injuries that we've seen as of late. And what makes them tougher, I mean, they could be worse, don't get me wrong, but it's all these, we don't really know injuries, a kidney infection, a hand, fluid in the knee, and we're just waiting. And so this group right now needs some help. They need something to happen because, again, it's not really the pitching as much as you can pinpoint the bullpen struggles we've seen at times. And I know we'll get into talking about Seth's struggling performance, but in reality, the offense isn't helping out at all. And I don't care how great this pitching staff looks. They need support. They need run support. It's like so basic to say. You got to score runs. You got to get hits at least. It can't just continue to be 1, 2, 3 innings.
Ooh, that's a nice pitch. Yeah. Well, they shouldn't have gotten 22 hits on Friday. It's pretty simple. I think we all know the issue. They wasted all their hits, and now they have to wait until Wednesday to hit again. Yeah, but hopefully they get out of this here. Man on second, 2 outs. Tyler, is that Brandon Lau or Brendan Lowe?
We do this every time.
Oh my gosh.
No one
knows.
knows.
Rupert Murdoch or Dermot Mulrooney?
Gosh.
Hold on. We'll find out once again.
I think it's Lowe. He's Lowe, right? I think Lau is the Rangers guy. It's Lowe. Yeah. It's Brandon Lowe.
Well, do you guys hear something?
But it's funny.
No, it's Brandon Lau.
It's Lau. Okay, then the other one's Lowe.
It's Brandon Lau, and then Josh Lowe, and his brother is Nate Lowe, who also at one point played for the Rays, and I don't remember if he still does.
There's too many Lows and Laus. It's funny every time we have this conversation.
Sorry. Nate Lowe plays for the Rangers. Josh Lowe plays for the Rays.
Okay.
Who also plays with his teammate Brandon Lau,
who is not his brother.
Who is not his brother.
No.
Because my buddy's
popular last name.
I just got texted by a buddy. He said, I'm really stoned right now, but T-Mac's confusing me because he said something about his brother being on the team. So is T-Mac confused by the Low Lau saga as well?
Josh and Nate are brothers. Nate plays for the Rangers. Josh also plays for the Rays. Brandon is Lau. He is not related to either of them, but he is also a Ray.
It's bizarre.
Well, there we go. We're going to the bottom of the 9th here. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos due up. Just how you write it up for the bottom of the 9th inning. Your 3 horses coming up here. So how are we feeling? Do the Phillies do it in the 9th, or are we going to free baseball, Renee?
No. The only people I have faith in are Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber at this point of the team.
Well, Castellanos is coming up, and James Earl Jones died today.
I have faith in him. This is a moment for BDN. This is his time to shine. This is his time to step up, win the game for us, Nick. End the madness. Do not send us into any extra innings, please. This is his for the taking. Nick Castellanos is going to win the game for the Phillies. Yeah,
well, I have a plus 500 bet on Nick Castellanos to hit a home run here with our friends over at Bet365. And it's never ordinary at Bet365 because they do boosts. I get to create some of our own boosts here for PHLY. They have great stuff. Their futures section is the biggest I've ever seen. They have early cash payouts, which is phenomenal. If your team goes up any point by 5 runs in the game, you'll get cashed out right there on the spot. Happened to me in college football over the weekend. Nebraska was up by the points needed. It was an instant cash out, and then I took that money and immediately rolled it into another game that was starting soon. So the cash out benefited me in a major way. Thank you, Dylan Raiola and the Cornhuskers for that one. But they have tons of great stuff. They pioneered live in-game betting. They have great odds and promo boosts all the time. Plus, they have the early payouts across all the sports. It's great stuff. So right now, you can get $200 in bonus bets when you download the app and use code PHLY365 at sign up. And it's a great time. Every day, they power up the odds on hundreds of different bets to give you a chance to win more. With over 10,000 boosts every month, we boost specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. I hit another boost on Najee Harris and TJ Watt to get a sack from them. So keep your eye out for the custom PHLY. Trey Turner? It was foul, wasn't it? Was that gone? No, that's foul. Okay, that guy's acting like a home run. Anyway, tons of great booze. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older and located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Well, I know John Pease is saying in the chat how this team puts you through it, and we just want the playoffs start. Yeah, they need a fix, and they need to fix fast. But you know who can help you fix things around your house? If you got a leaky pipe or an air conditioning issue, our friends over at Ace Hardware can get you squared away. At Ace Hardware Home Services, they are local guys that will provide you with all the customer service and all the help that you need. They are great with when you walk in the door and you head into the store to make sure that you don't have to wander around looking confused and wanting to find more. Let me keep the rhyming going. But with Ace Hardware, they also can help with plumbing, heating, cooling, trusted professionals that can keep your home intact. You don't have to worry about the leaky pipe. You don't have to worry about trying to figure out what you need. They're going to bring the professionals to you, and they're going to make sure that you can get the help and the love and support that you need. And also, whether it's from the store or right to your front door, with Ace Hardware Home Services, they've got everything that you need. So you can visit Ace Hardware Home Services online right now at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. I'm a great fixer-upper. I know you guys are. Well, Tyler, you're not. Jamie, I believe you dabble. I love to be
okay. I get
Ace
scared with
Hardware
electricity and plumbing.
Yeah, well, that's
where I call the Ace folks. Yeah.
But with Ace Hardware, you get the help that you need today. So take advantage of our friends over at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get going and get started on that next project.
So Trey just roped one to right field. Looked like it was going to drop down, but Lau, whoever the hell he is, made a nice play on it. Tyler, I guess a real baseball guy would know Lowe versus Lau, huh? I guess I'm just not one of those.
Well, it's also
it's a game.
Yeah, really.
It's weird. They're both on the same team. It's the same spelling.
I try, you know.
They just made a switch defensively. Like, why are we doing the low loud?
Sometimes my pea-sized, small little man brain can't understand this hard game of baseball that's so complex that you need a PhD to understand it.
That was not that could have gone off the rails.
That was like really. I was not gonna hold you, Jamie.
Really fast.
I really would like you to choose your words a little bit better.
I will sized. Is that what
the way you rolled into that was a weird thing? I didn't know where you're going with it. It sounded super bad.
Sorry, yeah, just getting something off my chest.
Your stretch of words could have been a little bit.
Yeah,
was it the P size?
Off the air, just say it again in your head.
I will say this, Jamie. I think somebody somewhere is going to listen to the audio only portion of this and be like, "Do those two guys hate each other?"
Greg MC in the chat says he's in the mood for a walk-off. I am too. I don't want to see extra innings here. I want to see somebody end it.
You're going to get a walk-off. I just think it's happening in the 10th.
No.
Bottom of the order walk-off. Here's
Clemens.
Bryce. I mean, he's coming up right now.
Kody Clemens.
Pitching change. Bryce Harper up. This would be a great time for a slump buster, wouldn't it?
Bryce has been struggling. Still hasn't hit a home run since August 9th. His numbers have actually been better, but they're not Bryce level.
That's the thing. Like, Renee, you and I talked about that on Friday. Like, the power is sapped. There's no doubt about it. He hasn't hit a home run in eternity. But his offensive productivity sans the OPS, which, of course, is going to be low.
Oh, get out.
No, it didn't happen.
Just missed it.
Just missed.
I'm watching
That's a long single. Great.
So I'm getting the vibe.
Damn it.
Is this Space Jam, the baseball version? Did the Monstars just come zap the Phillies' power? Because
show that again. That was like a foot off.
It does feel like they have lost some pep in their step. I mean, the numbers for Bryce Harper, as we talked about it, he hasn't had the power. They were even saying the double that he hit yesterday would have been a home run in like half the ballparks on Major League Baseball. But you look at
that one 108.6 miles per hour.
He's improving. He's improving with a .452 average, a pair of doubles and 3 RBIs in his last 4 games. But again, it's not even about the home run. It's just like you said, the power's not there, and he doesn't look like the same Bryce Harper. He seems a little more gingerly at the plate. You can tell that he's at the very least thinking about it, which, as we know, as an athlete, you cannot play if you're thinking about the elbow, the wrist.
Here's my one thing, though. I will say this, and I'm not going to disagree at all. Like, I think we're all in lockstep. The power is just not there. If he's going to hit 300 over the course of a month, though, And I know the RBI total is low. But if he's going to hit 300 over the course of the month, and he's a singles and doubles hitter, if it's that or put him on the IL for the next 10 days, which he clearly A, doesn't want to do, and B, they can't afford to do at this current moment. I mean, I think numerically speaking, he's been fine. It's just if you're looking for gaps hitter, home run hitter Bryce Harper, he doesn't exist right now because I think of the injury.
So I just got back.
Put out his numbers over the last month since his last home run, which was August 9th. He's hitting at 309 with a 391 OBP and 111 plate appearances coming in.
Good numbers.
It's good. It's solid numbers. It's just not Bryce Harper numbers, of course.
More important than that right now, I'm being told, I didn't see the replay because we're doing the show, but apparently he didn't run out of the box at all there.
Great.
Now, I have to see the replay, but if you're in the bottom of the ninth and you maybe think you're pimping a home run or you just dogged it, like that's inexcusable. Brandon Marsh already did it once. It's in my notes to get to. But if that's two guys tonight in a night where like hits are rare and you have to manufacture them, if two guys dogged it out of the box tonight, that's pretty concerning. Like more concerning than the W or L about tonight. And I'm not saying it's going to get carried over to the postseason. It's still 3 weeks away. But like, on a night like this, a 1-0 game when your pitcher gave you that performance, you're going to dog it out of the box?
You guys know I am all about body language and the vibes. And that stuff is contagious. I don't care what sport you're talking about. When you have somebody like that Brandon Marsh play is a great that was like, what are you doing here? Try, get there. Bryce Harper, same thing. You're not
My
scoring.
buddy said he stood and watched it.
You have your starting pitcher, Cristopher Sanchez. You have your bullpen out there doing everything they can to hold Tampa Bay to minimal damage. And you're not providing any sort of run support. You couldn't even get a hit through the first 5.5 innings.
If Bryson Stott singles here, I'm going to be so angry.
Yeah, like you have a chance to get on base and you're going to dog it. It is very frustrating.
Bryson just beat that out. A little infield single. That's inexcusable though by Bryce. Now again, I'm going off of a text from a friend, but he's dialed into the Phillies and he said he stood there and watched it. Brandon Marsh earlier tonight. I don't know what the hell that was.
Dogging.
That's bad.
Bad. You never assume, especially when your team is struggling. You never assume. You see every play all the way through.
Bryson Stott didn't dog it.
So, and I have coming in for Cal.
I have changed softened my heart on the run every ground ball out thing out. Like
sure.
I was growing up, and probably because it's preached to you as a little leaguer. And the reason is it's not because you're going to get 700 at bats in a season. It's just it's to put you in a mindset as a young,
Buddy Kennedy
formable player that you're supposed to hustle, right? And so growing up, I always had this, run everything out type of mentality. And I've loosened that over the years because, listen, a routine ground ball to second base in the major leagues, 99.9% of the time is just that. It's a routine ground ball. You're gonna be out. Like those type of things don't bother me as much as they used to. In the case of Marsh tonight, and in Harper's case, in this point, I didn't get to see him out of the box, but in Marsh's case specifically, there's a couple of factors that are working against you in this moment. A, it's a close game. B,
it was the biggest thing for me.
B, it was not a terribly hard hit ball, which means it's not a routine play at that matter. And C, you're being no hit.
And that was my biggest thing.
The way that scoring is done nowadays, that's going to be ruled a hit. If you beat that out, they're going to give you a hit for it. I think in that particular instance, listen, we are hyper fixating on one at bat in a game in which they got no hit into the sixth inning. This is a collective effort of futility and offense tonight. And nobody is without blame. However, in this particular instance, you had an opportunity to maybe buck a trend a little bit here and break up that double play. Listen, it's one aspect of a 27-out game, but you also need to understand aspect, like time and place. And I think it was lost on Brandon Marsh in that play.
Yeah. And Bryce here, let's hopefully Buddy Kennedy can get a game-winning single here. They're not really giving him much to hit at. Clevenger's throwing it low and outside and hoping he'll chase. And Buddy with the plate discipline hasn't gone for it. 3-1 count. Could load the bases here. And then does that mean
Clemens.
No, it's not. Who did he pinch it for? I kind of blacked out while doing
Kyle Stevenson.
Okay.
So
Buddy takes a cut 3-2.
They're making a matching left field tonight. It's evident that that's kind of going to be
Brandon Marsh, Weston Wilson, Cal Stevenson, and now Buddy Kennedy.
Who I'll be honest with you, I thought was an infielder.
When's the last time that's happened?
What's that?
We've had 4 different. Is that 4 guys playing left field? Technically, there's a walk. Bases loaded. Buddy does his job.
So it's Kody up.
Kody Clemens.
Might have gotten the inning wrong, but I just want to be on the record that I said he was walking it off 10 minutes ago.
You did.
Listen, it may have been the wrong inning.
Okay, who's gonna get it first?
Wait, what? Did you get an alert on your phone?
Oh yeah, I've moved on. I can't be behind like this. This is ridiculous. I need to be up to date.
But you're not. You're now ahead of us.
Correct.
What's you got to keep a poker face here. We're what?
I'm trying.
Oh boy, Tyler, we're screwed.
we got no chance.
Yeah.
I don't have a great poker face. I can do this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
You're a year older now, Renee. You don't have your fastball like you used to.
Oh, I'm getting so old. I feel old.
So old, yeah.
As soon as the clock struck midnight, I was like,
I know.
You know, they say that velo dips right around 32, 33. So,
So everybody in the chat, you can feel free to wish Renee a happy belated, in case you forgot her birthday was last Saturday.
Yes, indeed.
All right, come on, let's go.
Okay,
come on, Kody.
I'm not gonna say words.
Kody. Oh no, did you already see it?
I just saw something.
Oh God, this is torture.
Was it good? Was it bad?
See, this is not fun.
Yeah, I don't like this at all.
This is worse than suffering through the game.
I'm sorry.
That's a ball. Don't call that, sir. I could go for a walk-off walk. That'd be nice.
Still counts.
Yeah, that's a good pitch there. That is a good pitch. That takes balls to take it. Kody! Bang! Walk-off win! Kody Clemens!
You finally got it! Oh my God, that took so long.
Kody Clemens, the most clutch hitter ever? This dude's got onions. Wow.
Thank you.
Guys, I could not hold that in. I'm sorry. I tried.
That was I knew something had happened.
So, by the way, I just want to confirm this. I texted my buddy at 9:10. I said, KC wins this one. He goes, my man crush, let's do it.
Thanks for the birthday wishes. And thank you, most importantly, Kody, for winning this game for the Phillies. Huge. Bases loaded. That is how you step up, Kody Clemens. I've always liked Kody, and every time he gets called up to the Phillies, he makes big plays. And this was not a pretty game, but they won the game. And
I'm happy for Cristopher Sanchez that Kody Clemens got that done. I'm happy that we don't have to talk about Bryce Harper and Brandon Marsh dogging it, even though they did. Well, maybe pimping isn't dogging, but you know what I mean. But I'm happy for Cristopher Sanchez in that his performance was not lost tonight. If you're just joining the show, welcome into the PHLY now official post-game show. And we have a victory post-game show. We did not mush it. And of course, it's brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. That's an ugly, bad, boring baseball game, but a hell of a win to get it done in the bottom of the ninth like that. We'll dive into Cristopher Sanchez's night as a whole here in a minute. But as I said, I'm pumped that you didn't waste that performance from Sanchi.
And a couple of people have said it in the chat already, and I think we've kind of floated this idea around for a while now. It's going to be really, really, really difficult to make a decision to leave Kody Clemens off a playoff roster.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure who gets number crunched. My guess would be it comes down to him or Weston Wilson as the final, unless they decide to maybe go 14 and 13, like 14 position players and 13 pitchers for a 5-game series, because they may not need a fifth starter or what the case may be. But it's going to be a really difficult task to leave Kody Clemens off a playoff roster at this point, because every time you task him with something, he seems to deliver.
He does. He's won the Phillies games. He stepped up in big moments. He's gotten walk-off hits. He's gotten home runs. He's given us good plate discipline. And he's someone that is another guy that can fill in wherever needed. Him and Weston Wilson have been huge, and they've been tremendous, because every time the Phillies have to call them up, something good happens. Every time you're in a pinch, you're in a jam, here comes Kody or Weston, pitching, playing, wherever needed. And so those two, and I know Greg MC's saying Edmundo Sosa, the Phillies do have a solid bench. Honestly, when you look at this team, that's what makes it even more frustrating. The pitching is doing getting better, getting back. You've got the bench. You now have to get the offense going, because that's the biggest thing that's missing as we're getting further and further into now the fall season. Red October is closing in on us. You want to make sure that the Phillies are playing the right way. And you know what, guys? There's a spot you can do things the right way. That's with our friends over at Rite Aid, where you can take advantage of all the options that you need around your fall allergies. It is getting cooler outside. We're getting the ups and downs of the weather. And with that also comes the ups and downs of allergy season. It started in August. It runs all the way through November. And you can take advantage of the fall allergy medications that Rite Aid has. They've got some great over-the-counter medications for you that allow you to get the decongestants, the nasal sprays, whatever you need to help get rid of that cough, the watery eyes, the sniffly nose, the running nose, and making sure you're feeling good this fall. Because as you're dealing with pet allergies around dander and fur, or maybe it's plant allergies around things like tumbleweed and pigweed or dust mites, whatever may be causing and triggering your allergies, stay ahead of it. Rite Aid also has some great rewards for you. With their rewards program, you actually get updates. You can sign up at riteaid.com/rewards to get email updates for things such as pollen alerts. So you can stay in the loop, stay in the know, and you can get all the advice and tips that you need to make sure that you can stay ahead of the allergies, whether it's using a dehumidifier or being able to keep your windows closed to minimize how much pollen is coming in, especially at night when it's cooler and you're tempted to open your window. Rite Aid has tips. They've got advice for you. And they've got plenty of support for you, because in addition to their fall allergy medications that they also have some great pharmacists on staff ready to help answer any questions that you may have, ready to help guide you in the right aisle, right direction, where you can always go in and ask for guidance. And I myself have had to go in and ask, hey, where is this medication? Where are these vitamins? Rite Aid has that. They've got the Yellow Market, which provides you with snacks, pantry items, candy. They've also got their refreshing drinks to keep you hydrated, like coconut water. Rite Aid has everything you need. So now as we're getting closer and closer to Red October, you can feel good to be outside cheering on the Phillies with our friends over at Rite Aid. Again, head over to riteaid.com. Check out the different benefits that they have, their refreshery, their snacks and pantry items, as well as their different mobile features. And with Rite Aid, got you covered today. Always the right choice for you with our friends over at Rite Aid.
Yeah, and yesterday I had a bunch of friends and family over the year for the first NFL Sunday of the season. It's like a national holiday. 3 TVs were set up. And, of course, some cold Miller Lights down in the beer fridge. I said, guys, ladies, help yourself to the Miller Lights down in the fridge. They are cold, refreshing, and only 96 calories. The original light beer since 1975. And to this day, it's still the best one. Whether it's a game with friends and family, watching the game at home, going out to the golf or pickleball courts, whatever it may be, a Miller Lite is just a nice, refreshing thing to have when friends and family and laughs are happening. It's the beer that held on to everything that matters most and got rid of what they don't need. It's a light beer that tastes like light beer should, because they keep it simple, undebatable quality, great taste, and only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. A light beer that tastes like beer, less filling, and only 96 calories. The original since 1975. And you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY Phillies, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories per 12 ounces. All right, we'll dive into some of the stuff here from the game, but talking about Cristopher Sanchez and his stellar evening tonight. This is courtesy of Tim Kelly. According to Fangraphs, Cristopher Sanchez now has the 4th highest WAR, Tyler, your favorite, among qualified starting pitchers at 4.6. The only pitchers higher than him are Chris Sale, Tarek Skubal, and Zach Wheeler. The season that Cristopher Sanchez is having, I know he struggles on the road. He's dominant at home. He's had some good road starts. Is spectacular. This dude is one of the stabilizing forces of the Phillies this year. You'd kind of have a much different baseball season on your hand without the stability that Cristopher Sanchez and durability this year that Cristopher Sanchez has given you. Another feather in the cap tonight. Great ball game out of Sanchez.
Yeah, he's the fact that he is top across the NL in a number of pitching statistics.
Crazy.
Top 4, and then closing in on top 10 across Major League Baseball, and he's the 4th starter for the Phillies. It just completely makes you feel better about these struggles for the 5th starter, because you're now being able to go into the playoffs knowing you've got four guys that you can count on. Obviously, for Sanchez, his numbers have been way better at home, but we are also starting to see him break out of that. Of course, last series, we saw that in Toronto, him have a moment. It's incredible and encouraging to see, because he's been such a surprise. We knew what Zach Wheeler would bring. We knew we'd be having conversations about him in the Cy Young category. We knew what Aaron Nola brings as Mr. Durability. Range is another one that we talked about with his goals of pitching over 200 innings and being healthy this season. Sanchez was not a guy that we really knew much about, especially after last season. So to see him be an everyday starter, lock into that number 4 spot, but be best in baseball, and also show the composure, the maturity. You know, he's locked in mentally. He's been able to get to a point where he has the confidence in himself, and it's translating into his pitching, because you don't see him going out there feeling the nerves. He's been able to battle through. He's been able to get out of innings, and he's been able to get deep into games, which, as we know, is also a huge, huge benefit that this team needs. They're starting pitching to consistently go deep. So it's awesome to see that Sanchez has been evolving as we say, he's our number 4, but on a lot of teams, he's your number 2. He could even be some people's number 1s, honestly, with how well he pitches at times.
Yeah, and Tyler, before you chime in, Greg MC in the chat says, thank God they locked him up, and what a great deal that's going to be if this is kind of, I don't know. We really don't know what he is. Hopefully this is a baseline for him and he continues to get better. I noticed tonight his slider and changeup were up 2 miles an hour on his yearly average. So he was picking up some velocity late in the year, but a 4-year, $22.5 million contract. I mean, that's the thing GMs kind of dream of right there.
Yeah, and I think the one thing too is they were talking about it on the broadcast tonight. There doesn't seem to be any innings limitations for Sanchez this year. It seems to be they've totally turned the reins over to him as a pitcher. They trust him, and I know that the splits are different at home than they are on the road. Those are undeniable, that he's a much better pitcher at Citizens Bank Park than he is away from Philadelphia. And, you're going to temper those, the demands and the expectations if he is getting a start on the road, whether it be a game 4 of an NLDS or whatever the case may be, into a CS or whatever it may be. You're going to temper your playoff expectations. If he's starting at home, you're going to feel really good about him making that start, especially if you have a series lead. If he's making, the 4th start, the game 4 start with a 2-1 series lead, you feel comfortable with him giving you 5 or 6 good innings, and having an opportunity to win that series. Now, Jamie, you were talking about the WAR thing, and it's not my favorite stat in the world. But if you want
it's remarkable he's there.
If you want to use it as a useful tool and compare the 3 guys that are ahead of him, you've got the guy that's going to win the AL Cy Young Award. You've got the guy that's going to win the NL Cy Young Award.
And then the guy that also could win the NL.
And the guy who's going to finish in second in the NL Cy Young Award. Like, to me, Chris Sale is going to win the NL Cy Young. I think that's pretty locked up at this point.
Well, there's still some time. I mean, these are big 2 weeks.
I know that you're still holding on hope.
Not over until it's over.
September is where these races are decided.
But Tarek Skubal is almost assuredly going to win it in the AL. And then, okay, so if Sale doesn't, it's going to be Wheeler. So you've got the 2 guys in competition for the NL and the guy that's likely going to win it in the American League. It's good company to keep. It's not a stat I love, but it's certainly good company to keep.
Yeah, the thing with the WAR is it shouldn't dictate anything, but it is good in, like, putting things in perspective of guys around the league. I think that's all you kind of use it for. A lot of pitching's been up and down this year, and Sanchez has been absolutely tremendous. And if this is him just scratching the surface of his next level or step up in his career, then that is an all-time Phillies contract right there. So, we'll revisit that in a year and see how it's looking. But 4 years, $22.5 million for a guy that can give you that. His stat line tonight, he finished the game 94 pitches, 6 innings pitched, only the 4 hits allowed, 0 runs, only 1 walk, 14 Ks, did get 16 swing and misses. And I noticed in the first 3 innings, he was getting more flyouts than he was ground outs, which is usually his bread and butter. So he must have been fooling guys tonight, because they were popping him up like crazy. And just a great game from him in a coward 2-game series.
Well, it now leads the Phillies to have won 4 straight series openers, which is something that we were talking about getting back to, as well as getting their starting rotation, the top 4 at least, minus Aaron Nola's not great start this past weekend, getting them back to a consistent point. Guys, since the All-Star break, the Phillies have now officially, with this win today, gone 24-24 since the All-Star break. So I actually wanted to do some numbers because the record itself is not telling. But of those 48 games that the Phillies have played since the All-Star break, in about half of those, they have held their opponents to 3 or less runs. 22 of those games, okay? So a little less than half. But also, in about half of those, the Phillies were held to 3 or less runs. Their pitching has been what helped them in the first half of the season. It was their pitching that started things off. We remember the days of Zach Wheeler, as there's a loud motorcycle going by, Zach Wheeler being 0-3 at one point to start the season because he had no run support. We remember that, but the offense warmed up. And here we are yet again, despite the recent ups and downs and injuries. It's been the pitching that's been the consistent. It's been the pitching that's helped you be able to hold opponents to 1 run. You're holding opponents scoreless. That's keeping you alive because the offense is struggling. And with the amount of injuries that they have, you expect the offense is going to struggle because there's been a lot of changes. And we have guys, as you mentioned, Tyler, they're not 100%, a lot of them. Nobody is at this point of the season. It's September. Everyone's dealing with the lagging injuries. So if you have your starting pitching that can be your backbone like this to help you grind out wins, that is the making of a really good team. And I want to give a quick note because I'm getting dragged on Twitter currently by especially some trolls that don't actually pay attention to anything I say. The Johan Rojas play that I tweeted out saying it sums up the season for the Phillies, I stand by that. The Phillies have been a random fluke, a random injury, getting hit by a pitch. How many players have we seen get hit by a pitch as of late? It's been the most random, unfortunate things that are circumstances causing this team to have guys in the IL, causing this team to not be close to 100%. So they have all the talent. It's just right now they're literally hitting a wall, just like Johan Rojas did when he dropped the ball over the wall. That is causing some little mistakes or little errors or little injuries here that are keeping them from maybe having more dominant wins. They're still winning games. They're still best in baseball, but they're uglier games versus, maybe you have more electric offensive games because you have a healthy Bryce or you have a healthy Alec. But I'm getting dragged currently by, especially our trolls, the friends of ours that don't watch the show, that are not friends of ours. I say that lightly.
So speaking of Kody Clemens, social media is just it can be an absolute terrible place where it's just everybody just shut up. Everybody's got an opinion on everything. Just shut up.
Real quick, we are always raving about the Phillies. Nobody's saying that they suck. But
this one is courtesy of Baseball Paul talking about Kody Clemens. I was kind of asking the question, is he the most clutch hitter of all time in baseball history? He might be. A lot of people are saying that. Well, Baseball Paul said Kody Clemens in 22 high leverage plate appearances this season is batting .350/409/650. So I think there's your answer. A high leverage situation, Kody Clemens, double order of onions. That is tremendous and unexpected.
It's significant, and it's why it's going to be a really difficult decision on who the final playoff roster spot is, because you need a clutch bench, a bat off the bench come playoff time, especially if you are going to play these matchup-based plate appearances with a multitude of positions. Now, I know that he is not a natural outfielder by trade, but there is probably a case to be made where you could say, all right, well, you want to send Kody Clemens up in the bottom half of the inning, and then in the top half of the inning, you're going to shift defensively, and Johan Rojas may come in. Like if Austin Hayes were to start in left and Brandon Marsh starts in center against the righty, and then, you bring Kody Clemens in, or, whatever the case may be, there's like optionality is key with this team, especially when you're cycling through a couple of different, splits, if you will. He provides really serviceable. He provides a really utilizable service off the bench for this team come playoff time.
Yeah, and Tyler, I know you have numbers on the starting pitchers, which I want to get to in a second. But Renee, our Discord's having that exact debate right now. The people in our Phillies channel are debating the playoff roster, and our buddy Josh in there says, my guess is they carry only 12 pitchers so that they can fit. Yeah, so they can fit in Hayes, Sosa, Wilson, and Clemens. Yeah. I don't think there's any scenario where Kody Clemens isn't on the playoff roster.
I think that's for the DS.
Today solidifies that. Yeah, I think today helps solidify that. You look at his numbers, as you mentioned, him in major moments, but in the just 65 at bats we've seen for Kody Clemens, he's got 90 at bats. He's had 21 hits, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs. And he's had 14 runs total, but it's the timing of when those happen. Like I can very vividly remember him coming in like he did today with a walk-off, with a game-stealing play. And Weston Wilson has also been fantastic in his 65 at-bats. We've seen him be a utility piece. Don't put him at third base. Other than that, we're good. So I think for both of them, if you can maneuver the roster to have them both on your playoff roster, you have good bench bats, which is something, guys, last season I remember us talking about in the NLCS, especially, that the Phillies didn't really have that bench bat. It was our buddy Jake Cave. So to see that they have these guys that are showing, right, we're seeing them have success, and somebody like Kody's not afraid of the moment. You can see where there's the Roger influence. There's the, he's whatever the team needs, I will step up. I will help out wherever needed. And you need those types of players come playoff time that can deliver in the big moments.
All right, Tyler, I have, before we get to your numbers on starters, because I do want to get to that real quick, Topper did pull Bryce Harper aside in the dugout after the celebration on the field, and they had a manager to veteran chat there. Didn't look like anybody was animated. It looked very mindful, very demure, very, very in the moment. But it looked fine. It looked like a guy that said, hey, Bryce, that can't happen, right? And Bryce probably said, yeah, I thought I got it. That's my bad. And they move on, and that's baseball. But that's good to see in terms of Topper. I'm not saying you don't bench Bryce Harper for that, no. But you definitely, I think he made that a point to do it in front of the cameras and not in the locker room.
18 games left. This is your second to last homestand. We're closing in on the playoffs really quickly. And much like we saw the interaction with Alec Boehm a couple weeks ago after this first inning bobble and mistake, this is the time to just fine-tune things. It's not something to yell about. It's not something to panic about. But you do want to have those conversations that if this comes up again in the playoffs, for example, you've had a chance to talk it through. These are teachable moments. All right, so now, Tyler, hit us with your numbers. What you got?
Yeah, so you have some Sanchez numbers, the contract other pitchers signed this offseason.
Talking about the Sanchez contract, which is going to, I think, continue to look stronger and stronger. Just a quick look around baseball, and it's kind of a mixed bag of the guys this past offseason who signed, multi-year deals, especially guys that signed multi-year deals with new teams. They got, similar numbers. Obviously, Sanchez's numbers are going to be lower because he signed a super team-friendly deal. But some of the guys that signed, for in the area, we'll start on the high end. Seth Lugo signed $45 million, 3 years.
Looks like a great deal.
Really good signing for Kansas City. Also on the same side, they signed Michael Wacha to a 2-year deal, $32 million. He's been pretty good as well. But the rest of the numbers, I'm just trying to go. Oh, and Reynaldo Lopez, I guess, too, has been pretty darn good.
Yeah, that worked out for the Braves. Alex Anthopoulos, a war criminal.
Kenta Maeda signed a 2-year deal for $24 million. He's got a 5+ ERA. Tyler Mahle signed a 2-year, $22 million with Texas. He's made 3 starts this year. Now, that is due to injury, of course. It's not entirely his fault, but he's made 3 starts this year. Jordan Montgomery signed for a $25 million 1-year deal with Arizona. He's been relegated to the bullpen with that team. Lucas Giolito signed a deal with Boston in the offseason. He ended up having to get Tommy John surgery before the season started. He didn't pitch at all this year. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Oh, and Sean Manaea signed a 2 for $28. He's been really good as of late for the Mets. It's kind of a mixed bag, a little bit more good than bad, but there has been a lot of underwhelming free agent signings that signed this offseason for this season. That I know a lot of people talked about different guys maybe potentially signing with the Phillies. Montgomery was a name we talked about a ton.
Ooh, thank God.
I was really intrigued to see if the Phillies would maybe make a play for a guy like Kenta Maeda, a back end of the rotation guy. He's been terrible this year. So to get Cristopher Sanchez at the number that you've got him at for the productivity that you're getting him at is really significant for a team that has a pretty large payroll.
Well, that's why it's significant, because you're spending buco bucks all around the roster. So to get a supplemental 4th starter, and we'll see what they do with Ranger down the line here. That I remember doing the emergency podcast and people were like, oh man, they haven't locked up Ranger before Sanchez. Well, Sanchez was probably the easier deal to get done because it is more team friendly. All right, let's shift gears to Kyle Schwarber tonight, because
huge
he hit a ball very, very hard. I believe it was 113.3 miles an hour off the bat. Now, this stat is courtesy of Paul Casella, who writes for MLB.com. Kyle Schwarber coming off his Player of the Week award now over his last 7 games. And my favorite part, in all honesty, about Kyle Schwarber going on hot streaks is watching our CHGO Cubs partners just wince in pain at every great thing he does, because they wanted him back badly. But over his last 7 games, Kyle Schwarber has 6 home runs, 9 extra base hits, 13 hits. The only Phillies ever with 6+ home runs, 9+ extra base hits, and 13+ hits in any 7-game span. Well, Kyle Schwarber joins Trey Turner from last year, Chase Utley in 2008, Ryan Howard in 2006, and one of my favorite, most overhated on players of all time, Bobby Baseball, did it in 2005. Kyle Schwarber just murdering baseballs out here.
I am so thankful for Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos, because when we've been seeing so much of the inconsistency of the offense, those two have been definitely Nick all season, but Kyle as of late has been another one that's coming in and getting the offense going. That's 8 straight games that Kyle's had a hit. That's his 34th home run of the season. And in addition to that great list that he joined, that you just read off, Jamie, that Paul Casella was sharing, he also, as Phillies Notes shared, had his 127th home run with the Phillies. So he ties for 7th across Major League Baseball history for most homers throughout the first 3 seasons with any club. Now, the list that he joins here is remarkable, of guys that had 127 or more home runs with the same club for the first 3 seasons with any club. On that list, you have guys like Hall of Famer Jimmy Fox, did it with Boston. You had Kyle Schwarber. Cecil Fielder did it with 130. Chris Davis, 133 with Oakland. Roger Maris had 133. The Babe himself, Babe Ruth, had 158. A-Rod with the Yankees. Yankees, of course, had a few guys. So A-Rod with the Yankees had 156. And then Mark McGwire had 159. So he ties for 7th on that list, since Mark McGwire leads the list. He ties for 7th with Hall of Famer Jimmy Fox. It just doesn't even, we take for granted, I want to say, how much excellence we are still seeing, despite the recent hiccups and challenges of this team lately with injuries. They still have some really good historic moments that even I'm like, what? There's a stat for everything. There's a record for everything. And thank goodness for Kyle Schwarber opening up not only the first hit of the game being a home run for that 447-foot bomb, but we did see it was enough to help set the Phillies up with how well Cristopher Sanchez had pitched, to allow Kody Clemens to come in and say and walk it off. But Kyle Schwarber is the one that's been getting it started. That's why we like him at leadoff. At least I do. And that's why he is one of the leaders of this team that you can count on him in those, again, in the big moments to make the big play.
Tyler, the $20 million a year or was it 18 for Kyle Schwarber and Castellanos was 20, whatever it was.
Really good investment.
That's going to go down as one of their all-time great contracts. And Zach Wheeler's original one is up there. But Kyle Schwarber's return on investment is pretty spectacular.
If you look at the National League alone, and I know they flashed this stat up tonight, and it's probably changed since, Kyle Schwarber is 4th in runs scored in the National League. He is 3rd in home runs. He is 4th in RBI. He is 1st in walk. He's going to become the first player this year likely to get to 100 walks this year. He is 6th, in on base percentage. All of these numbers, he's 7th in slugging, which means he's within the top 10, of course, in OPS as well. He's 6th in OPS across the National League. He has been a catalyst for this team. It's a different type of leadoff catalyst. And I know the argument will probably be held in perpetuity because people like to argue about, the things that they don't, that they don't agree with on the baseball field. And it's kind of the old, like, do you want your speed threat? Do you want Trey Turner being your leadoff guy or not? Kyle Schwarber makes this team better as its leadoff hitter.
Yeah. Look, I gave up that, for the first year and a half, I wanted, what was it? It was 40 plus home runs and under 100 RBIs. I was very much in the camp of like, don't waste those RBIs from your best power hitter. And then, probably like a year and a half ago, I just went, all right, I'm done here. I'm not going to fight this fight anymore. So it is what it is. They had a lack of run production for a while in the middle of the order. Shifting gears to the Rob Thompson, Bryce Harper thing. According to Rob Thompson, Bryce Harper took the initiative and did apologize. So that's great leadership right there.
That's accountability. Is all we want. That's all you want to see is holding each other accountable, not letting stuff slip through the cracks, because that is something that shows this team has the ability to own up to the mistakes. You're human. Bryce made a mistake. Apologize and move on. I like it.
Yeah, and that's the end of that story. Brandon Marsh, maybe Topper pulled aside without the cameras rolling and said, yeah, come on, don't let that happen again. But all in all, a really good win here tonight. Cristopher Sanchez, Kyle Schwarber, and Kody Clemens. And somebody in the chat said, how about a quick shout out for Millville native Buddy Kennedy? Yeah. That was a big boy at bat. There was some pitches he took on that were painting the strike zone, and he took them like a champ there. So that was a really nice at bat by Buddy Kennedy to allow the most clutch hitter in baseball history to come up to the plate with the game on the line.
Listen, I always love to see Millville represented. That's where my family's from. And Buddy Kennedy did what he was supposed to. You get on base, bases are loaded. You set Kody up to help win the game. Just gets called up. One of those roster moves that we saw over the last couple of days. And in a moment, Buddy Kennedy showed us he could get a hit because this team has been struggling to do that today. So shout out to the Millville native because that was clutch to allow Kody Clemens to be. I called him Casey Clutch. Casey Clutch gets set up because of Buddy Kennedy. That's the nickname I gave him, but I'm sure I'll get dragged on Twitter for that too. So maybe I shouldn't.
We got magic numbers updates. This is courtesy of Destiny LaGuardo, who does a nice job covering the Phils. The Mets win tonight. My buddies in New York from college won't shut up about it. Very annoying.
Here's the thing. Just assume the Mets are winning from here on out.
They really caught fire.
Playing some incredible baseball right now.
Yeah,
Francisco Lindor, if it's not for Ohtani, probably is your NL MVP. So the Mets win, the Braves lose, and the Brewers were off tonight. So your magic numbers are as follows: 11 for the postseason, just 12 for the NL East, and 16 for a bye to the division series. So those numbers are real. You can start counting those down. There's a lot of Braves and Mets games remaining on the schedule. In fact, one of the games earlier today just got flexed into Sunday Night Baseball finale on September 22nd. So, those will probably be pretty big games. And it's good stuff. And the Phillies are going to win the NL East. And, I think they're right there in 1-2 in the power rankings across MLB.coms. So, good times are ahead. A nice win tonight. Great to see Bryce Harper apologize to the manager. Cristopher Sanchez deals. Kyle Schwarber wins you a game. Kody Clemens is clutch. So great stuff all around. We are back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Jim Salisbury is going to join us early in the show tomorrow, not his normal 11:30 time. He's going to hop on with us at 11:10 to talk about the Phils, of course. And it's September 10th tomorrow. Only 3 weeks remain on the year. Red October is upon us. Can't wait.
Yeah, I think one of my goals for the team this season was to lock in a playoff spot early in September. So that way you didn't have that down to the wire, table watching, stress, but you could have those last regular season games where you already know you've locked in. And so
yeah, this is pretty stress-free.
Yeah, it's huge. And now, especially with the amount of injuries that they have and everything, this gives you...
Oh, and on that note, too, the way the pitchers are stacked up now going to Milwaukee next week, it's going to be Wheeler, Nola, and I believe Ranger are the three you're going to throw against Milwaukee. So if you're looking to take care of business and get that bye next week, you have a great opportunity to do it in that Milwaukee series.
Oh, yeah. We'll have the continuous updates on the injuries, the bone bruise for JT, the wrist that Alec Boehm is dealing with in his left hamstring, I should say. Austin Hayes with his kidney infection. We'll have plenty of updates, but most importantly, if they can take care of business, it alleviates the stress of these guys having to rush back. And as a whole, the team is set up in a much better spot. So now, as Rob is already being asked, plan for what you're going to do with the first round bye. Plan for what the playoff picture is going to look like. So exciting times, guys.
Yeah, so we will be back tomorrow morning. It's going to be a crazy day in town with the presidential debates not or happening in Old City down there. So Phillies get a nice win. Hopefully they take the 2-game Coward series tomorrow. Real quick at the upcoming pitchers coming up as we get out of here. I just closed my tab. But tomorrow you are going to get Cole Sulser. Or no, excuse me, Taj Bradley versus Ranger Suarez. And excuse me, I thought this was a 2-game series. That's bad work by me.
It's a 3-game series.
Okay. It's a normal, respectable 3-game series. And then Shane Baz versus Zach Wheeler.
Taj Bradley is going to be.
He was their number one prospect for a long time.
Really, really good stuff. He's been up and down this year. Struggles with command at time, but his stuff is disgusting.
Yeah, he was their number one prospect last year. I grabbed him in fantasy, and he kind of had some injuries up and down success-wise, got shelled a couple times. So he's a guy with stuff, but just hasn't really put it all together yet. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you for hanging out with us. And, of course, thank you to our friends over at Bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Adios.
We all silly like the mayor.